Okay, working on the truck today because I just can't keep my hands off stuff. So last video at the track, I put the 4-port on it, and I've been kind of working through finding the duty cycle settings. So doing some digging around and talking to other people, I decided to try something a little different with the boost control. So I built this little table here that uses target dome and boost pressure. So this is actually using boost PSIG versus a target dome setting. And I forgot to mention it, but this does not use a dome sensor. It does not use the dome map or anything. It just uses map pressure and compares it to target boost. So it doesn't burn an input, doesn't need a dome sensor. Essentially all through this range would be like my guess for a duty cycle, what this is going to be. And what I did here now is I used my same settings that I used, or similar settings that I used in my Yellow Mustang. The Yellow Mustang was also a twin turbo setup, and it had twin 44mm wastegates with 6-pound springs in it. So I was using 15 hertz, and about 47% on that one made 22 pounds. So I'm using similar settings here, 18 hertz, and then 47 is I just have it targeting around 25. So what this table is going to do is these green ones are like my target for what it should make. Like if I go 18 pounds and 18 pounds, so this is going to be what I'm targeting, and then this is going to be what actual boost it's making. So then it's going to give it duty until it gets to this target range, and then if it overshoots, it will pull duty cycle out of it, hopefully to keep it back in that range. And then at 30, around 30, 28, 30, it just goes to 0. So even if it does overshoot, it kind of almost has like a built-in revert to wastegate feature, because it just drops it down to 0 duty if it goes over 30. So I'll go over this a little bit deeper when I get it to work with the screen recording. But essentially what I'm doing here is I'm using the boost versus RPM, and then I'm offsetting this table with a 2D table. So then my 2D table, because I'm using the dial-a-boost, so I wanted to make that work. So essentially what I have is RPM versus dial position, and then I changed all my dial numbers to match what my target boost number should be. So then like 6 down here all the way down is 6 pounds of boost because it's a 6-pound spring, and it makes about 6.5. And then as I turn it up, what these numbers are going to be doing is offsetting this boost versus RPM curve. So those numbers are going to be offsetting this one as I turn it up. Then I don't have to mess with this table at all. And then it'll apply for each of my boost settings, because if I were to just offset this whole table, like if I go to 6 and then I decide I want to offset that table with the dial-a-boost, if I add 10, it's also going to add 10 to my low RPM, which I don't really want to do. I want to have like my low RPM and launching stuff still around the same, but then just ramp it up. So I'll go over that in a little more detail. I'm going to go take it out and go drive it a little bit and try to dial in some of the numbers. I haven't driven it on this yet, but the concept is there in my head. I feel like it should work. And then I also changed how I'm doing my trans brake and bump. I'm not using the staging input output. I made some custom output tables for brake and bump, so I can go over that stuff too if I get that to work. And essentially what I have now on the dial, all of these numbers represent a target boost number. So I want it to target 6. It's all the way down right now. That's at 6. All the way up will be 30. So the dial number corresponds to like what the boost number should be. So what I'll do is like 16 pounds. I'll dial it in right there, whatever the duty cycle is that it needs to make 16 pounds. That's what I'll put on that one. And then I'll just continue to do that. So that way I don't just have like a 1 through 10 or up or down. I know exactly what the target's going to be. All right, well, I figured I'd do some recording because I just doing some trans brake testing, and now I just hurt my neck. So it went from like not bumping at all to way aggressive, and I wasn't expecting it, and now my neck is actually sore. So what I've been doing is kind of creeping down on it. So I started at my 16 hertz, and then I went 50% duty cycle, and I was creeping down the duty cycle until I got to 16 and 33, which is where I was on the single pulse before. But that didn't do anything. But the difference there is it's not completely interrupting the circuit. So what I did was I kept it at 33 and I went down to 10 hertz, and then it bumped really, really aggressive, and I wasn't expecting that. So now I met in the middle. I'm at 13, and I went back up to 50 hertz, and then 50%, and then I'll continue to creep it back down. This video is probably going to be kind of all over the place because I'm testing two different things right now, but I did a pull with it on like the 11-pound setting and it still made wastegate, so I know I need to increase that setting, duty cycle, and then I ran a log and I'll see where the other one went. I turned it up to like the 18-pound setting and then it made like 12 or something. Yeah, it made like 16 on the 18-pound setting. And then on the 11-pound setting, it only made 6. So I got to bring duty cycle into this. So what I didn't realize when I recorded this was that my target dome offset number is at full boost at about 5,900 RPM. And the couple pulls that I did, I only revved it to like maybe 5,000, 5,500. So the target offset wasn't ramped in completely yet. It was like just starting to ramp in. That's why I was under on boost. So I didn't realize that at the time. I didn't really need to make much adjustment to this at all. All I did was rev it out more, and then it straightened out a lot. All right, so this is going to be 13 hertz and 40%. Something. Let me go a little bit more because it was like almost too smooth where I thought it was gonna. I couldn't barely tell it was moving, but it was moving. I'm gonna start going by like a couple percent now. That was like really nice smooth. It's just like barely doing anything. Yeah, that was sweet. Well, 38% and 13 hertz. Get an outside shot. I gotta stop, let go of the button. Probably be 39% would be perfect. Alright, so that was 13 hertz and 39%. That actually works really nice. So hopefully it doesn't end up changing too much with temperature. The trans temp's like 150 right now, so hopefully it doesn't change a whole lot. But I should be able to offset that table by temperature also if I need to, so that would be pretty cool. But hopefully we don't have to do that. Okay, so here's one quick log of a 16 PSI run. So this line right here is actually two lines overlaid over the top of each other. So this is dial, target offset, and target dome. So the dial target offset is offsetting this target dome number. So when I click here, it reads 7 PSI and 7.4. It pretty much just follows it because one is creating the offset for this one. So on this setting, I had the dial at 16. So targeting 16 pounds of boost. And then at RPM, it's set at 16, the offset is 16, and it's making 16.4. So if I add on the dial output, you can see what it's doing here. So the dial out is actually modulating itself to maintain that boost level. So you can see it's pretty sporadic, but if I take that back off of there, you can see how the boost line pretty much follows target pretty accurately. So I'll bring up another one, 11 PSI run, and you can see pretty much the same thing. The target and offset come up, and then the boost line pretty much follows it exactly. Now I'll add on the dial boost output, and you can see how the dial output is modulating itself to maintain that boost level. And then if I look here, dial is at 11. That's my dial position targeting 11. Actual boost is 10.7. Target offset is 11. Target dome is 11. And pretty much anywhere I click on here, we're at 10.1 there, 11, and now the target is 10 though, and 10. So if I click here, the target is 9, 9, and it's making 9.5. Actual boost is 7, and the target offset is 7, 7. So it follows itself pretty decent. So, and if we look right here and we add the dial on there, or we add the dial out, so right here it's making 11 pounds, targeting 11, target dome is 11, and dial boost out is at 31%. So right now, right here, in that position I actually had 36% in there. But what it's doing is it's pulling down to 31% to try to maintain that number. Alright, so I'd say that little bit of monkeying around was successful. Both things seem to be working. I'll do separate videos on those because I feel like it should be 2 separate videos because I was doing 2 different things. So what I'll do is I'll do a separate video on the bump, smooth bump stuff, and then I'll do a video on the boost control, how I got that stuff set up. But so far it looks promising.